Our final speaker, Dean Foreman, an architect of some considerable recognition and accomplishment. He's designed and managed any number of projects of virtually every scale and has a particular design experience with regard to transit issues. So with that said, I'll bring Dean to the forecast here.
My name is Dean Foreman, and I'm an architect. I've been doing work in the city for over 30 years. I'm not a traffic engineer, I'm not a planner, but I was involved in the Urban Design Committee and got involved in the I-70 issues through that. I'm not here today representing the Urban Design Committee or the AIA. I represent myself as a concerned citizen and a citizen who's concerned about the future of Denver, as I'm sure all of you are. John's shown you other cities across the country and around the world that have accomplished the removal of their inner city highways. Peter's shown you how it can work. I'd like to show you how it can work in Denver. I'd like to show you a vision for Denver's Grand Boulevard. Is it going to be the Champs-Élysées in Paris? No, it's not. But it should celebrate this area, not provide a way to bypass it as quickly as possible. These neighborhoods housed the people that built the city of Denver. They are the working heart of this city, and they paid a dear price for it. We think it's time we paid our debt to these citizens and give them back their street and their identity. By paying that debt forward, we can pay it forward to a greater future for the city of Denver. I'm here to show you an idea, inspired by the cities that John showed you around the world and based on the facts of how traffic works. Here's our proposal. First, I'd like to point out the massive scale of the CDOT proposal. The only thing we've been talking about here today is the boulevard, but this overview gives a bigger view of the project. This is the biggest project in CDOT's history, $1.8 billion. It's going to expand the highway in 10 lanes all the way from the National Western Stock Show out to Tower Road. That's 11.5 miles of expansion. What we're suggesting today is a small portion of that. The idea has implications west of I-75, or I-25 rather, but the portion we're considering here today is the boulevard. The rerouted portion is approximately 11.54 miles, but it follows existing right-of-ways to reconnect I-70 at Wadsworth. I-270 and 76 flow through industrial areas, but provide major access to industrial, commercial, and redeveloping areas. So here's what we think we learned from these people, and I'm really happy that they backed this up because I am not a traffic engineer. According to CDOT's numbers, and those are on the left side here, only 10% of the traffic on this highway is through traffic. 10%. That means 90% of the traffic here is local. We're using it because it's convenient. Highways limit access, increase the connectivity, bring the grid back, and the whole thing functions much better. 30 to 40% of the traffic will absorb into the grid because they're just trying to get across the tracks. If 10% of it can be picked up by rerouting, then that leaves only 40 to 50% of the traffic that has to be picked up by this boulevard. And there's been discussion here that even that's probably a little inflated. Here we show a figure ground relationship showing all the buildings in the area. Figure ground shows the actual buildings in gray. There's two very different characteristics in this area. The area right of Vasquez to the east of Colorado Boulevard is almost entirely industrial. Look at the size of those buildings. Those create a lot of impediments to traffic. But to the left of Vasquez, you see the neighborhoods of Elyria, Swansea. You see the National Western splitting that between the river, and you see Globeville, which has been decimated by highways over the years. By removing the highway, we open up huge tracts of land for useful purpose, which today are totally useless. 80 acres is what we estimate. That's the equivalent of 5 times of Civic Center Park, 3.84 million square feet. Even if only 60% of that is available, that's over 2 million square feet of developable land. This opens up areas for development precisely where it's needed most, along major roadways where investment in land use is most needed. The boulevard adds value and improves property values. Another thing we can do here is provide another opportunity to extend Denver's greenway system, to link the South Platte Trail system to the Sand Creek Regional Greenway and the Front Range Trail with a continuous pedestrian and bike trail is what we're suggesting. This is a critical missing link for the dedicated cyclist and a long-lost pedestrian connection. And it removes the biggest barrier to river access, the highway itself. Some people like to ride bikes and walk. Let's give them the opportunity. What we want to do is plant trees. Trees, trees, and more trees. Rather than line them up as in a traditional boulevard, we want to cluster them. Clustered native species replicate how trees grow in our semi-arid environment and help improve the soil percolation, air quality, and reduce wind tunnel and heat island effects. The planted medians can be redesigned for stormwater quality and management. Bioswales in those medians slow down the water, allowing sediments and contaminants to be removed by the plants. In a broad view, the boulevard dramatically increases connectivity, not only for the neighborhoods, but for the entire region. Natural connections at major intersections are reestablished, providing direct access to Commerce City, Adams County, and Denver. It also brings back the only real way through these neighborhoods. I was told today that 54 dead-end streets are in this area. There's no way to get around. So many of the roads are interrupted by railroads, industrial properties, and the river. This improved network not only links the greenways, but also ties together pedestrian, bicycle, bus, light rail, and commuter rail stops that are now under construction. It reestablishes the primary east-west connection through this area, 46th Avenue, which does not exist. It increases access to business desperately in need of it, and it realistically stitches these neighborhoods back together. We propose large traffic circles at major industrial intersections of Vasquez, Colorado, and Brighton Boulevard, but we also plan on traffic signals at major intersections of Holly, Dahlia, Steele, and other streets, and Washington Street. But look at the interaction of the grids. Look at all the broken roadways, the ways you can't get east and west, the ways you can't get north and south. The roadway is what's going to give them that back. So let's take a look at the boulevard at some key nodes. These drawings show blow-up plans and section cuts through the proposed roadway sections. This one shows an industrial section. What we noticed when we were in the neighborhoods is that paralleling both sides of the existing highway through these industrial areas are access roads, two-lane access roads which provide direct access to every industrial property along them. We thought, why not just start the boulevard by widening those access roads? They already give direct access. What's the result? 80 feet of a planted median in between there. We could use that area for hike and bike trails to connect the Sand Creek to the South Platte River. Bioswales can manage the stormwater quality and quantity. Clustered trees here, not lined up like you might see in some traditional boulevards. Clustered trees improve the air quality and reduce the noise, and direct access to the highway is constant. At the neighborhood section, we propose a significant narrowing of the roadway to fit in its current footprint to retain existing small businesses and homes. By narrowing the median to 20 feet, we can expand 46th Avenue to 3 lanes in each direction. Judging from what we've seen here today, we're even considering maybe taking it down to 2 with parking. Because what's the benefit to these mom and pop shops along here? They want traffic to be reduced. They want it to integrate. They want to be able to see these people go by. They want to park in front of their retail spaces. How many retailers want a highway driving by their spaces, by their businesses? None. Here we show the transition from the industrial roadway to the residential roadway section. This happens to be laid over the Colorado intersection. Look at the incredible wasted space that you see here. This is what's happening on highways. This is how these dead areas occur. What we plan on doing is pulling the industrial roadway into a traffic circle that will allow them immediate access north and south. The centers of these traffic circles are quite large, and we think they can be used for magnificent art installations or fountains, maybe if you're in Kansas City. The widened industrial side roads enter the traffic circles and gain easy access to the major roadways. Clustered trees continue to soften and improve the airways, and now the bike trails can actually go underneath these roadways and connect to major north-south roadways. This blow-up shows a proposal for the intersection of Brighton Boulevard at the National Western Complex. You might be familiar with this area. If you looked at what the highway plans for this now are, they're totally dead areas. The area to the left is a detention pond planned for the highway, all to collect the water that's going into this 40-foot trench. They have to get it out somewhere. They're going to do it at the entrance to the National Western Stock Show. What an incredible missed opportunity. What kind of an opportunity should we make there? The potential for growth in this area for the National Western, the potential to link the Coliseum to the north side and to make a real campus out of this is so much better than the plan that's now being produced. And this gives a direct access down Brighton Boulevard, which is currently under planning by the City of Denver as a boulevard entrance to the city. From the west, the entrance to the complex takes on a whole new character. I don't know how many of you people have ever gone into the National Western from the west side, but it doesn't look anything like this. In fact, there is a way under it. It's on 46th, and you go over an old wooden bridge under the highway. That's not a very good way to get into a new campus for National Western. There's another great opportunity here. We still have to get over the river. The railroads go right under that portion. What an opportunity for a gateway bridge. This could be Denver's arch. This could be a symbol for the city of Denver. And what a spot to do it at, right at the new National Western Complex. This is CDOT's aerial view of the existing highway going through these neighborhoods. This was, a year and a half ago, was their expanded elevated option. When we started looking at this, we started making a big fuss. This has to be wrong, we said. And surprisingly enough, Don Hunt and CDOT agreed. But their solution was this. Now, what they've done is they've trenched this thing, and noticed that by putting it in a trench, they had to put two-lane, one-way roads on either side. This is 16 lanes wide, 3 times the current width, 40 feet deep. The cover, which covers 800 feet, is intended as mitigation to the neighborhoods, some kind of play space for your kids. This is not a very good entrance to our city. This is what we think should happen. Here's the same view of our proposed Grand Boulevard. We think it deserves a fair hearing. What do you think? Thank you.
Dean, that was absolutely terrific. Kind of just a couple of quick summary comments that I think we heard from this afternoon. Dean just gave us a terrific presentation on issues of feasibility and design of a boulevard. He spoke to the issue of a comprehensive plan to take into account transit, bikes, pedestrian, and automobiles, and no freeway at all. We saw the benefits of that. Peter earlier gave us some perspective on the basis for projections, forecasting, the questionable basis for some of the forecasts in question, and very importantly spoke to the seemingly natural redistribution of traffic through space, time, and mode, which addresses exactly how critical a freeway truly is. Peter Park, in introducing John Norquist, made the very clear statement that there's never been the removal of a freeway that had any bad consequences. And John Norquist gave us some terrific examples of corrections of, one would say, freeway mistakes, and gave us some advice on rebuilding I-70 with some very guarded wisdom. Being a true politician, simply said it would be monumentally stupid. So I think that cut to the core.